This is Ready, Set, Bet with Matt Brown and Mike Somich on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Welcome back into your Ready, Set, Bet. I'm Mike Somich. He's Aaron Halterman. We are rolling along, but Aaron, we're not rolling like the Thunder are right now. They have absolutely opened it up here in the second quarter, 57-26. Memphis, congratulations. If you got an Oklahoma City second quarter ticket, I think you're going to cash 25-6 right now in the second quarter. Memphis able to get a bucket at the 11:30 mark. It's been just 4 free throws made since. This is a dominant defensive performance here as we see Oklahoma City make another shot in the second quarter, Aaron. This is getting out of hand. We're just going to put it that way. Right now, I bet you can get a little better than that 20-1 live line if that's what you're looking for. We got 33.5-point favorites in the Oklahoma City Thunder. The money line is off the board. That's how much of a beatdown we've got going on there in Oklahoma City. 59, now 61-26. Thunder over the Grizzlies. Cash your first half. Thunder over tickets as well with 5 minutes left in the second quarter.
Unbelievable. We were joking off air. It's like, did they make, talk about Memphis, did they make one bucket while we were on the air for the last segment? And Isaiah chimed in and said, nope, sure did not. So unbelievable, man. Just an incredible performance here by the Thunder to kick it off. That's what you want to see as a Thunder fan for sure. You kind of thought it was going to be a little bit of a mismatch, but I don't think, especially after the first 5 or 6 minutes of the game, we thought we were going to see this quick. Just a dominant effort.
Yeah, Ja gets a layup here with about 5 minutes left in the second quarter. So a 6.5-minute scoreless drought there, a bucket drought for the Memphis Grizzlies. We talked about the struggles from the field for Oklahoma City. They're now 7 for 15, 46% from three-point range after starting out 1 for 6 and shooting 60% from the field after shooting sub 30% or sub 40% in the first quarter. So Oklahoma City really picked it up on both ends of the floor. Now, Aaron, we've got a couple more baseball games at first pitch is going to happen in just about an hour. The first one here, the A's taking on the Brewers, and the A's here are a short dog, plus 120. If you want to come back on the Brewers the other way, minus 142. And I wanted to bring this game up because you've got Logan Henderson, who's going to be on the mound for the Brewers. And if you don't know who Logan Henderson is, don't worry. Most Brewers fans don't know who Logan Henderson is either. It's a 23-year-old. He's going to be making his first start in the majors. He started 3 games in the minors so far this year, and he struck out 24. That's good. But he's walked 14. That's not so good. That scares me a little bit. You've got Jeffrey Springs on the hill for the A's. And this A's offense actually not terrible. They kind of frisky here. I love the pitching matchup here for the A's against the Brewers. So give me A's first 5 plus 110 in this spot, Aaron.
I think it's a good spot to do it. Springs is kind of the known. We're going to know, we know what he's going to do, and he's a solid pitcher. You know he's going to give you a solid outing. He's not a shutdown guy, but he is a guy that's going to go out there and keep you in the ball game most nights. And you talked about the A's are a pretty decent team this year. They're getting better. They beat me last night. I had the Brewers, and the A's were able to get it done 3-1. Pretty tight game, but the A's were able to shut down the Brewers. And you're right. I stayed away from it because of the unknown of the new pitcher for the Brewers going out there. Sometimes you see a new guy come up and nobody's ever seen him in the majors, and he's able to kind of shut him down or at least slow down an offense first time through. So I was a little bit worried about that. But if I'm with you, if I was going to play this game, I would lean the A's, whether it be first 5 or full game. I think the A's are the play in this one.
One other 11:20 Pacific, 2:20 p.m. first pitch going to be the Diamondbacks and the Cubs. Merrill Kelly on the hill for the Diamondbacks. Jamison Talon on the hill for the Cubs. Cubs a minus 142 favorite. Total sitting at 7.5. Juice toward the under. No major wins today in Chicago after the last yesterday blown in, the day before blowing out. I almost bet the Diamondbacks plus the 120 here, and I couldn't quite get to it. I do think they are the better team, and I slightly lean toward the pitching matchup. My numbers came back like plus 115, so just a slight edge here for the D-backs. Did you look at this one at all? I know you're a D-backs fan as well. Did this tip you or get you close to betting this one?
I'm right there with you. I almost bet the D-backs for the 3rd straight game, and I thought, you know what? I've learned my lesson here. We blew the game at 11-7 lead in that crazy game on Friday, and they blew it. And then yesterday, Gallon just blows up, but your outs prop go bet or cash us somehow, and then of course the D-backs lose the game. I almost went right back with them because I do trust Merrill Kelly a little bit more than Talion, but at the end of the day, I did not do it. Kelly's not pitching just real great so far this year either. So kind of stayed away from this one. But I tell you what, I do like the price. I think the price for the D-backs, it is a little high. I'm with you on that. So if you want to back anybody here, I would go the Diamondbacks in this spot.
Quickly updating the Thunder Grizzlies here, 63-32. Thunder have stretched it out to 31-point lead here. We are getting some points from the Grizzlies, though. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this one when we get to the next segment, see if we can find a second half bet for it. Over in Major League Baseball, we've got the Red Sox and the White Sox, 3-2 Red Sox in the top of the second, runner on second there, 3-run shot in the bottom half for Abreu for the Red Sox. Right now, 1-0 for the Reds over the Orioles in the top of the second with a couple men on there. Bottom of the second, 0-0 Pirates Guardians. Love that for the under 4.5. Phillies up early, 3-1 on the Marlins. Lazardo right now is one of your Ks, so need to get that going. Twins Braves. Twins are up 2-0 in the bottom of the second. Got an early 3-0 lead for the Mariners against the Blue Jays. The Royals get 2 off Scooble and are up early 2-0. The Yankees get one early as well, and the Mets take a 1-0 lead on the Cardinals. All those games in the bottom of the second. So a lot of early baseball that is going on now. Aaron, we've got 3 more tips in the NBA today as well, so we've got to make sure we go over those games. Next game to tip off here going to be the Orlando Magic taking on the Boston Celtics. We saw this at a Celtics laying 12.5 last night. That's ticked up to a 13. Total sitting at 205. Low for the NBA, but this is a Magic team that does play very good defense and a not a very explosive offense. You can get plus 600 if you think the Magic can get it done here in Game 1. Did you like anything here in the Magic Celtics Game 1?
I really couldn't make a ton of things make sense. I kind of looked at that plus 13 with the Magic, and I thought, you know what? That is a lot of points. You know, the Celtics, maybe they're a little bit asleep here early. We saw that from them a little bit last year during the playoffs because they know they can look and go, hey, we've got the East wrapped up, right? Maybe the Eastern Conference Finals, might be a little bit of a struggle, but these first 2 rounds, they know they've got it wrapped up. If you're going to play something, that just a minor look at that makes a little bit of sense. But, again, I didn't want to, I just didn't feel comfortable with the Magic either. I'm not a huge fan of them. So not a lot for me. I think it's going to be interesting, though, just to kind of see, okay, what are these major teams going to do first out? Are the Celtics going to come up and at halftime we're going to look and it's going to be a similar score of the Thunder where, hey, they're ready to play, they mean business, or will they kind of struggle mentally a little bit? That's kind of the storylines, I think. I don't think the Celtics have any trouble really, though, but just couldn't make sense of anything to play.
With the depressed total here at 205, I started taking a look at the team totals. I ended up playing a little Celtics over 108 points in this spot. If you go back and you see what the Celtics have done offensively, yeah, the Magic are very good defensively, and they don't play extremely quickly. I still think this Celtics team, especially at home, Game 1, able to put some points on the board here. So I took over Boston 108. That's one not a big bet for me, but at least something that I liked in that game there. We've got the Heat taking on the Cavs in the third tip of the day. This one's a 7:10 Eastern tip in Cleveland. The Cavaliers laying 12.5. The Heat catching those 12.5 points. Total sitting at 214.5. Minus 750 money line on the Cavs here. Plus 525 coming back on the Heat. Any chance for the Heat in this series or this game, Aaron? Little Heat culture action?
I couldn't make a case for him. I don't like him in the series. I don't like him tonight. I almost laid 12.5 for the Cavs. I just feel like this is going to be a very energetic building. This is a young team that is really fun to watch. And so I just feel like you're going to get a lot of energy and emotion here. So I nearly took the Cavs, but again, it's a little bit too many points for me. I like their team totals overs for the Cavs. I really think they're going to come out and play a good game tonight. When it comes to 12.5, 13-point spreads, I try to stay away. Give me the team total over for the Cavs here, though. I do think they come out, they play with a lot of energy.
Give me Tyler Hero points prop over here, 23.5 minus 105. Hero has a good matchup against this backcourt of Cleveland. Very good wings, very good defense underneath, but for Hero's shooting ability, he is going to get some open looks against this Cavs team. And we've seen Hero kind of take over offensively as well later in the season. So I like the idea that Hero ends up getting a lot of shots up here for the Heat, specifically in this series because of the way the defensive setup is from the Cavaliers. Now, the marquee game of the day, tipping off late here, 9:40 Eastern, first tip, 6:40 on the West Coast. We've got the Warriors taking on the Rockets, and this line has been jumping all over the place. We saw the Rockets as big as 2-point favorites yesterday, got down to pick 'em today. We're back up to Houston, -1, total sitting at 212, -118, Rockets money line, -102 if you like the Warriors. Aaron, anything here?
I think this game's going over. Give me over 212.5 here. I just think this game's going to go over. I think we're going to see a lot of points in this one. I don't know what to do with the side. I will say that, straight up. The Rockets, do we trust them? Do we think they can do it when it matters? Do we think, they can kind of live up to that regular season expectations or hype that we've had with them, how good they've played? And then the Warriors side of things, it's like, okay, is this team ready to make a run? They kind of felt like they were towards the end of the regular season. Once they got Butler, we'll kind of see what happens here. I was just very worried to take a side, but I do think we're going to get points in this one. I think we'll get an up and down game. So I took the over here, just a little afraid to take a side one way or another. And I want to see a couple of games and maybe kind of jump into those series prices depending on what we get. But I'm going to just kind of take a wait and see approach with this one as far as taking a side.
Yeah, I took the Rockets for the series plus 175, I believe it was. I like this Rockets team. I think they're getting undervalued as the 2 seed inside the conference. Love what they do on the defensive end. Younger team, so we'll see how they react here. But this is a very deep team that rebounds the basketball well. I think that makes a big difference in the long term. If you're trying to get any bets down, make sure you are checking out Edge Boost. It's the first ever bank account built for bettors, ensuring all gambling transactions are approved. No usage fees, no minimums, earn cash back rewards, 100% approval on all betting deposits. Sign up today, edgeboost.bet with promo code BET. Deposit $25 and Edge Boost will match that deposit. That's edgeboost.bet. It's going to be a fun day here in the NBA, but all eyes on the NFL this week as well as we lead up to Thursday's draft. Feels like those top 5, top 6 picks feels pretty in line. We talked first wide receiver off the board yesterday. Our next guest, John McKechnie, going to join us in the next segment. He wants to talk first wide receiver as well. I'm excited what he's got to say. I love the offensive lineman in this draft. Excited what he's going to check in there as well. So stick with us here. Ready, set, bet. John McKechnie talking some NFL draft on the other side.
Welcome back to Ready, Set, Bet with Matt Brown and Mike Somich on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Welcome back in here, Ready, Set, Bet. I'm Mike Somich. He's Aaron Halterman, filling in for Matt Brown this weekend. And Aaron, we are at halftime. The Oklahoma City Thunder up 68-36 on the Memphis Grizzlies. Cash your Thunder first half, cash the under first half. And right now you can catch 3.5 with the Thunder in the second half. So you're expecting a little bit of a comeback from Memphis here. In-game total sitting at 220.5, which puts us right around that 114, 116 number. Anything here you like here in the second half?
Not really. I'm just going to ride out this under and just kind of watch, hopefully, a slog of a second half, kind of a lot of reserves in for Oklahoma City. So I'm not touching anything in game right now. Give me this under. Just let this cash, and we'll be good with this one.
A little interested in the fourth quarter under. You can get that at under 55.5. I expect if this game does slow down, we're going to see it kind of just grind to a halt in the fourth quarter, especially if it continues to be a blowout. So a little bit for me on the under fourth quarter, under 55.5. We'll see if we're able to come fruition. But before, we've got to talk to John McKechnie here. He's on the Progressive guest line with us. You can find his work over at RotoWire for both college football and the NFL. You can find him over on X at Johns_tailgate. Love the Twitter name there. John, how's it going?
Doing well, guys. Happy Easter to y'all. Got my Easter best on to join you guys. So happy to be on.
I love it. We've got a lot of talk around the first wide receiver market, John. We talked about this yesterday, and when we talked about it, Golden was as high as plus 140, plus 150 to be the first wide receiver off the board. You've got Tet McMillan, who's still currently your favorite, sitting there between that plus 165 number, or right around the minus 165 number. After that, it doesn't feel like anyone else is in competition. Who do you like here as the first wide receiver taken, and where do you expect them to go?
This has been a fascinating market to watch. It was obviously one of the first ones to really be posted and be sitting out there. So we've been able to kind of track the movement more than a lot of these other markets that are just kind of coming out, being released. Like now you're seeing stuff like top 5 exact, that type of stuff. But first receiver off the board has been around for a bit. And at one point, Tet McMillan checking in at like minus 500, something like that. And it was prohibitive that he was the favorite. But now things have changed. We've seen the combine results come in, and obviously with Tet sitting that one out and not having a overly impressive pro day, while Matthew Golden goes ahead and just really stakes his claim as a legit first round type of prospect with his performance in the combine. We've seen these numbers fluctuate a good bit. However, I think now is the time to jump on Ted McMillan. I think that we see this number a lot more favorable. You don't want to pay minus 500 juice, but minus 165. I think McMillan's a guy that can do it all on the boundary. He's a really interesting player, can go up and get it. I think like he's not quite a Mike Evans like some people would have hoped, but I think his floor is Mike Williams. And I think a reasonable comp for him would be like a Drake London, Michael Pittman type of receiver. And that's certainly something that a lot of teams that are picking in the top 15 are going to be interested in. So I think ultimately we're going to see the chalk sort of prevail, or the guy that was supposed to be the wire-to-wire wide receiver one in this class end up being the wide receiver one. The golden stuff, very interesting. There's certainly a case for him, and that there might be some teams that covet the type of stuff that he brings to the table a little bit more than Ted McMillan. They might already have something covered as far as their boundary X receiver goes. But I think ultimately at this price, minus 165, I love Ted McMillan now.
It is crazy how much that market's moved. Mike and I talked about it just yesterday, and it seems like it's moved even since then. So it will be very interesting and something to keep an eye on. Now let's go to a different position. Let's go to offensive lineman. You really like a guy to go first off the board for an offensive lineman. So tell us who you got.
I like Armand Membu out of Mizzou. He maybe wasn't before the draft or before the combine quite as bandied about as Will Campbell, but the combine was equally unkind, I felt like, to Will Campbell. Checks in with the dreaded short arms that you never want to hear from a top flight left tackle prospect. So you get a little bit concerned there. In Membu's case, just crushed it across the board as far as the measurables were concerned. There is, maybe some quibbles as far as, does he fit naturally at left tackle or is he a right tackle? But I think that's starting to, that line between left and right tackle and the value within gets a little bit more blurred the further we get along into this. So I think that, a right tackle prospect can still absolutely be someone that ends up being the first player at his position off the board. So I do think that with those odds plus 340, I just don't think it's that much of a slam dunk that Will Campbell ends up being the first O-lineman off the board. So I'm taking the value there. I really like the price more than anything when it comes to Membu.
It's been very interesting to watch the offensive linemen in this draft. You mentioned Will Campbell and his short arm syndrome. You mentioned Membu and the fact that he's more likely a right tackle than a left tackle. You've got Calvin Banks, who kind of fell during the season, but has started to pick up some momentum. He's sitting there 13.5 as his over-under. Where do you think the first offensive lineman comes off the board? Is this a situation where you do think it's New England that ends up picking Membu, or do you think it kind of falls down to the Jets there?
Those are the two sweet spots, I think, especially in the top 10 when it comes to the offensive lineman landing spots. I think the Patriots, as long as they keep that pick, I'm fairly certain, especially with the way that we're expecting the top three to shake out, where it's going to be Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, and Abdul Carter. I think that offensive line is going to be like that best player available that also fits a need for the Patriots. So as long as they keep that pick, I think it's an offensive lineman, and I do think that Membu is potentially the guy there. And then, the Jets obviously spent a first-round pick on Olu-Fashanu last year, but it was a very veteran-laden offensive line last year. Didn't have a ton of Fashanu, at least early on in the season. I think they want to continue to get younger at that position. So I still think that we still see two offensive linemen go off the board in the top 10. Those are the two kind of most likely landing spots. But again, I think that the Campbell and Membu both are top 10 guys. I just think that there is, it's not so open and shut that Campbell is the first one off the board.
Looks like you've got another play here for us at plus money here as we look at the NFL draft. Looks like you like Jahad Campbell a lot in this spot. Tell us what you got in line and what you're kind of thinking with betting him in this draft.
I think both of these guys are not overly appealing to the fantasy crowd, but I think they're both very, very good football players. I think they both bring a lot to the table, but I think in Campbell's case, the role versatility that he showed during his time at Alabama, doing some moonlighting on the edge, but also playing a little bit off ball and doing reasonably well there. I think that you're just kind of drafting this giant slab of marble that you can mold into whichever role that you would like to make him out of, sort of akin to Jalen Walker. But I think that you could almost argue that Campbell just a bit more toolsy than even than even the Georgia product there in Walker. So I think that Campbell ends up being a top 20 pick. I think that it's very popular in mock drafts to project the Buccaneers taking him, whereas Zabel, I mean, we got to love North Dakota State offensive linemen. I think that is a program that has become a factory. You want those big corn-fed guys. He certainly fits that bill. But I think that in terms of your first round needs, maybe you're a little bit less interested in a guy that you start out at guard like a Zabel. So I think that he's someone that draws some interest, I think, maybe in the later 20s. So I think that Campbell could go as high as like 17, 18. Zabel, have a really hard time seeing him in the top 20. So we're seeing this at plus 140. I'm going to lean with the Alabama product coming first off the board there.
Yeah, always interesting to be able to find these markets here. So Zabel over grade there, Campbell over Zabel there at plus 140. Now you have one other pick you like. I love the fact that we can bet who's going to be in the first round here. And we've seen a cornerback out of Ole Miss start to gain some traction. I know Daniel Jeremiah talked about Trey Amos and his possibility of landing with the Rams. You like Trey Amos here to hit the first round at plus 145. Tell us why.
He's a guy who's seasoned, he's experienced, and importantly, he played at a big program. He saw a lot of the great receivers during his time at Ole Miss and at other stops. I believe he led Ole Miss in pass breakups this year. I went to an Ole Miss game when Georgia played them. Impressive day from their defense all across the board, and it was a no-fly zone when it came to Georgia testing Ole Miss through the air. Came away very impressed at the combine. Runs the low 4.4s, comes in and checks in at over 6 feet. Those are qualities that you love for a first round cornerback prospect. So I think that there's going to be a lot of teams in the market for a corner, and maybe he's not of that Will Johnson type of level, but by that same token, there's going to be a market. And my colleague Mario Puig, who just released a mock draft just before the weekend, he had him going as high as 18th, I believe it was, to Seattle. Pair him opposite Reek Woolen. I really like that fit potentially. And when there's that level of confidence that he goes 18th potentially, we have a lot of cushion baked in here for 14 other teams to potentially be interested in Trey Amos. So for me, plus 145, I feel pretty strongly about that.
He's John McKechnie. You can find his work over at RotoWire, both college football and an NFL writer. You can find him over on X at Johns_Tailgate. John, thank you very much for joining us.
Much appreciated, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Stick around with us here on Ready, Set, Bet. On the other side, we will talk everything NBA playoffs, including update series lines after yesterday's game ones, as well as some interesting props available out there. Stay with us. You're watching Ready, Set, Bet.
Welcome back to Ready, Set, Bet with Matt Brown and Mike Somich on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Welcome back in here, Ready, Set, Bet on VSiN. I'm Mike Somich. He's Aaron Halterman, filling in for Matt Brown, and we've got a bunch of action to update here on the Major League Baseball scoreboard. The Red Sox up 4-2 in the bottom of the third right now on the White Sox. Cash the doubles prop, baby. We got 2 doubles and before the end of the third inning here for the Red Sox, so nice to get that one home quick. Reds up 4-1 on the Orioles as Charlie Morton getting knocked around there for the O's. Guardians, Pirates, 2-0 Guardians here in the bottom of the second, so looking good for our first 5 under there. Phillies up 3-1 after mid 4 here against the Marlins. Luzardo not quite getting there for you on the K's prop, Aaron.
No, that's the only bad news so far is that one. We're doing pretty well everywhere else, but yeah, the K's don't look good there for Luzardo. Only 2 through 4 innings for him. Doesn't look like he has his best stuff. I think you said he's given up 5 hits. I mean, that's not good at all.
Yeah, not missing bats today, which is always a problem when you got those K props out there. The Braves up 5-0 here in the fourth. The Mariners bats have finally come alive. Nice to see that they found out the baseball season started. They've got 6 through 2 innings against the Blue Jays and are up 6-2. However, Jays do have the bases loaded there. Royals 2, Tigers nothing in the top of the fourth. The Yankees are up to an early 2-0 lead on the Rays as well. The Mets have 2 on the Cardinals, and the Brewers got 2 in the bottom of the first thanks to an error and a couple hits, and they're ahead of the Athletics. Now, we're going to talk a little bit NBA here. And if you want to get NBA playoff bets in, make sure you're keeping an eye on the VSiN Watch app as the playoffs heat up. We're going to break everything down for you, from series odds to matchup breakdowns. You'll find it all over at the VSiN Watch app. And we had 3 series tip off yesterday, Aaron. We got some updated pricing, so I thought we should talk through these a little bit here. I was talking about the Pistons at plus 310. I thought they played very well in that game. You had that 21-0 run for the Knicks in the fourth quarter. Updated price now, Pistons plus 450, Knicks minus 550 on the other side. I kind of want to click the Pistons button. Talk me off it here.
Well, look, I get it, but I would just watch another game or two of this thing, because like I said, it's hard to get a read on what happened in game one. It was just so up and down and fluctuated so much. So I would just wait. I would be patient on this one. You know, if the Pistons were to lose game two, you're even going to get a better price, but then you also could kind of reevaluate and say, okay, how did they lose game two? Was it a situation kind of similar to game one where I thought they should have won? Or does game two, do they kind of get blown off the court a little bit? You know, I just think it's a wait and see with them. I wouldn't get crazy about them yet. They're just such an inexperienced team when it comes to the playoffs. I would still just kind of tread lightly because, like I said, I've said it a few times, that was just a weird game to try to analyze last night.
Yeah, I agree with you. We'll see what happens here. The Knicks are laying 6.5 in game two there. The Wolves now minus 150 taking on the Lakers in that series. Lakers up to plus 125. We've seen the line in the game two. The Lakers set at minus 5.5, so up 1.5 from the game one win. A must-win game for the Lakers if they want to win this series, and they've got to get that offense going. You can't score 95 if you're the Lakers and expect to win.
No, absolutely not. You're going to have to get supporting cast members to do their job, and you're going to have to get a little more fluid offensively as well. That was the biggest problem for me. It just kind of felt like they bogged down big time when they really needed baskets and when it really kind of got down to crunch time for the Lakers. So, look, I think you play them in game two because I think you're going to come out and they're going to get their best effort for game two. I don't know, even though they're plus money now to win the series, I don't know that I really want to, take them at this point. I want to watch a game. I kind of want to see what they're going to do because, like you said, if they don't get it going offensively, they're not winning the series, and it may not go past 5 or 6 games even. They've got to get better, and they got to get more points for supporting cast. So I'm staying away from the Lakers right now. Let's watch another game. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, the game one loss at home, never a good thing in a series. Even if you're a big favorite, you don't want to drop one of that early game there, and that's why you're seeing the Lakers coming back at plus 125. If I was going to bet either LA team, I'd be betting the Clippers. You can get them plus 130 to win the series now, Aaron. The Nuggets coming back minus 155 if you like them to be able to eliminate the Clippers. And the Clippers actually favored in game two now on the road in Denver. -1 favorite, minus 115 on the money line. I kind of want to bet the Clippers in game two. I think if you don't have a Clippers series ticket, now's a good time to get in at plus 130.
I would agree with that logic as well. I do think that's a good enough price. And look, we talk about the Lakers and how they just kind of got manhandled and they didn't look very good and all this stuff. You talk about the Clippers, it's a totally different loss, right? It's a loss where you think they were the better team. They blew it. Now, they are the Clippers, and that's kind of what their playoff history kind of looks like at times. You don't want to hold that totally against them. Every year's different. Every team's different. But you did kind of come away from that game thinking, okay, they can win this series. And like you said, they can win game two, and they could, obviously take advantage of the home advantage. If they could get game two, all of a sudden they've got the home advantage, and that would be great. So I'm with you. I think the Clippers are the play if you're going to do it right now. And like I said, that it was a bad loss in terms of, hey, we blew it. We had this thing, and we didn't get the job done. But it's a good loss in terms of, hey, they can play with them. If not, they're a little better than the Nuggets right now.
We're back in action in the second half, and unfortunately, it is a lot like the first half for the Memphis Grizzlies here. Memphis calls a timeout 2 minutes into the second half after giving up a 10-0 run to the Oklahoma City Thunder. So 78-36 now. Oklahoma City ahead after that 10-0 run sets them off. Now, one thing I love is we get some of these fun props. So let me throw a couple of the fun props at you. First one here. Will a team win consecutive 3 titles in a row, 24, 25, and 26, plus 650? Is that enough for you to be interested? It has to be the Thunder if anyone wins the next 3, right? Boston's going to get a little old. They're going to have salary cap issues. Do you think anyone can rip off 3 straight NBA titles?
I don't really think so. No. And also, who wants to hold on to a bet that long as well? You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to do that. Right. Like, I just don't want to do that. So no, I would say no to that. And also the biggest thing for me is that price is, that's not enough. If it was like 20 to 1, sure. Why not? But plus 650, no, thank you. I do not want any part of that.
Yeah, I'd love to run my numbers on what fair odds are here. I can tell you it's a double-digit number. The no at minus 1,000, incredibly tempting, except that, again, it's 3 years that you got to tie that money up, right? So I would like the no if I got paid in less than 3 years, but I just don't see that happening. Now, another one that DraftKings put up here that I want to bring up because we always talk about shopping around and trying to make yourself a better. They offered a play-in performance prop here. So you get the Grizzlies, the Warriors, the Heat, and the Magic. And you can pick if any team will make the second round at minus 260, the conference finals at plus 150, the NBA finals at plus 500, or to win the finals at plus 1,000. And Aaron, I look at these four teams and I just get the Warriors, right? Like the Grizzlies, the Heat, and the Magic, they're not making any noise.
That's why why would you bet this? Just bet the Warriors to get into the second round, right? Like, I have no interest in the Grizzlies. Obviously, it doesn't look good for them already. I really have no interest in the Heat or the Magic. I mean, the Magic, that would be a miracle of all miracles if they beat the Celtics. So, no, this is not one I'm interested in at all. If the one team to make the second round was a little bit better price, maybe think about it. But again, it's the Warriors. Just go bet the Warriors if you think they're going to win the first round. Don't mess with this one because, like I said, these other three teams you're getting, who wants them anyway?
Exactly. It's like in horse racing when you've got the entry and you've got the 1, the 1A, and the 1X, and everyone's like, well, you got 3 for the price of 1. It's like, do you really? Or do you really just have one of them? And to me, this is just the Warriors. I would rather take the Warriors prices in any of these markets versus grouping in the Grizzly, the Heat, and the Magic, who I think all are up against it here against very good teams in the first round. Now, another market out there is the exact round of elimination. You can get this for every team that is not currently in action in the NBA. And one of them that jumped out to me here was the Rockets. I talked about Houston. I like them to win their first round series, but I do think some of the prices here are interesting when you get down the board. They're 25 to 1 right now to win the West, but you can get them at 30 to 1 to be the runner up, meaning that you expect them to win the West, but lose to either the Celtics or the Cavs. Is that price delta enough for you to be interested in runner-up versus win the West?
I actually like that a lot. Yeah, you highlighted the Rockets there earlier, and I do agree with you a little bit. I think theirs make a little bit of sense. I also, one that made sense to me, really two, what about the Nuggets or the Clippers to lose in the conference finals? We kind of talked about one of these teams are going to play the Thunder, right? And we kind of talked, maybe the Thunder don't get out of the second round again. Maybe they're kind of the same that they were. You're getting 12 to 1 on the Nuggets to lose the conference finals, and you're getting 17 to 1 on the Clippers. That seems like a decent enough price to me because you're guaranteed one of them is going to get to the second round. And then if they win, hey, you just got to lose that third round and you're in good shape. So those two made sense to me a little bit on this board as well. As far as, like you said, I think the Rockets do as well.
Yeah, if it's not the Thunder in the West, you can get a nice price on a lot of teams depending on who you like there. And if you want to figure out where all the money is going for all of these different games in the NBA playoffs, make sure you're headed over to vsin.com. We've got betting splits from both Circa and DraftKings Sportsbooks, giving you insight from a very sharp book in Circa and a more public book in DraftKings as well. Circa is known for taking big bets from professional bettors, and that allows you to understand where that money is headed. See the percentage of bets and the percentage of handle on every single game across every major sport, helping you make smarter and more informed bets. Get VSiN's summer special right now for only $59. You get everything we do through August 1st over at vsin.com/subscribe. That's vsin.com/subscribe, just $59 for everything through August 1st. That includes our Kentucky Derby guide, Aaron. We are just a couple weeks away from the Run for the Roses as well. I can't wait for it. I know you are excited as well. Stick with us here. Ready, set, bet. Coming back on the other side, we're going to have Dennis Bernstein talking NHL.
Welcome back to to Ready, Set, Bet with Matt Brown and Mike Somich on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
And we're back here, Ready, Set, Bet. I'm Mike Somich. He's Aaron Halterman filling in for Matt Brown. And the Grizzlies might want to find some fill-ins here as well. 92-47, 6 minutes, 9 seconds left in the second quarter. I'm going to go ahead and say Oklahoma City's going to win this game, Aaron. The total still in question, sitting there 225.5 in game. I think this thing slows down in the fourth quarter. I played under 55.5 fourth quarter Grizzlies Thunder because I doubt the Grizzlies or the Thunder are going to keep putting up the numbers at this pace. They're on pace for almost 50 points here in the second or third quarter. Now, let's head over to the Progressive guest line. We've got Dennis Bernstein on the line. You can find him over on SiriusXM. He's an NHL radio host there. And you can also find him at thethirdperiod.com as a senior writer, over on X at Dennis TFP. Dennis, how's it going?
It's going great, Mike and Aaron. You know, if Destiny was smart, they'd flip those two games. They put the hockey game on ABC and throw that disaster on ESPN right now. But doing great. The playoffs just started last night, and happy to talk to you about today's games as well.
Yeah, I am excited for the first puck drop here. We are just 15 minutes away from the Devils and Canes starting their series. I agree with you. Let's get that one on ABC. This basketball game is all but over. And this is a game where all three of us have bets in this spot. And all three of us are looking toward the under. I played under first period, 1.5 here. You like the full game under. Do you expect this to be a grinded out style series here, Dennis?
100%. Like there's not a lot of flash and dash and not a lot of star power because Jack Hughes is out for the Devils. I think that's one of the big deciding factors in the series. But, you know, of the 8 series, these are the ones this one is probably the one I least care about because it's probably going to be the least entertaining. I don't want to say that, you know, based on that NBA game going on right now. But yeah, I think it's low scoring and famous. Like 2-1, 3-2 games, which you rarely see anymore, even in the playoffs. But these two teams don't have a ton of offense. Two excellent goaltenders in Freddie Anderson and Jacob Markstrom. So I'm leaning towards the under in a lot of these games. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring affair in most, if not all, the games in this series.
Yeah, we kind of said the same thing a little bit earlier. It just kind of has that feel. And like you said, you do have the good goaltending as well for both sides. So it does kind of feel that way now. But you do have an anytime goal scorer prop bet here for us. You do like somebody from Carolina. Tell us what you like.
Yeah, I love his personality. He's so Seth Jarvis. He's one of the clutch players on this team. He's going to have to be one of the guys who's going to have to deliver Aaron for them to get out of the series. I think it'll be a long series. So I just like his clutchness. He'll get opportunities on the power play 5-on-5. Just really like this player because his ability to score big goals in big spots. So I like Seth Jarvis anytime goal for the Canes today.
We got Dennis Bernstein here joining us. You can find him over on SiriusXM as an NHL radio host there, as well as thefourthperiod.com. And Dennis, I love this next pick, not because I bet it myself, but I want to see this happen. The tortured
yes.
franchise in the Toronto Maple Leafs here taking on the Ottawa Senators. You're going with a dog today. Tell us about it.
Okay, so look, the Leafs have played great. They've done nothing wrong. They've won 5 straight to end the season, 9 of the last 10. I just don't trust this team in the playoffs. I'm sorry, I don't. And yeah, I'm picking Ottawa today on the money line. But boys, I picked Ottawa in the series. I like Ottawa in 6. That's how much I don't trust the Maple Leafs. All the stars, all the great things. Yeah, the goaltending's better. Yeah, the defense. In a big spot, don't trust the team. And not for nothing, it's not just about feelings. Last 7 games between these two teams, Ottawa's 6-1. They swept the season series 3-0. So this is, and it's a bloodbath. It's a battle of Ontario. These teams do not like each other. I can't, in good conscience, pick the Leafs in any particular round. Even if they get out of this round and the subsequent rounds, if they go deep, I don't think I'm ever going to pick them because I just don't trust them in the playoffs.
Oh, man, I love it. And the drama is going to be big if it happens because I think they do kind of feel like, hey, they've got kind of that path. The victory seems to be a little bit lighter this year than previous years. So that will really be something if that happens. And we'll all sit around and laugh about it again this year. Now, all right, let's go to the West now, and let's go to the late game today. Tell us why you love Vegas. We love Vegas, too. Tell us why we're all going to be right tonight.
I think if you want to bet on a sweep, fellas, this is the series to bet on. I think it's such an overmatch. Now, Minnesota did get back Eriksson Ek and Kaprizov. That's going to help this team. But Vegas is too deep. They've got great goaltending. They have that size on defense. They roll 4 lines. This is very similar to the team that won a couple of years ago. It really, really is. And I think the extra motivation for Vegas is they really didn't like getting knocked out in round one last year in 7 games. So they're motivated, they're healthy, they're deep. They have a great coach in Bruce Cassidy. And I just think it's an overmatch with respect. I think they got the easiest matchup because, yes, Minnesota has skill, but they're not a physical team. They're not a very big team. So I think this is going to be a relatively easy series for Vegas that they're going to need because they're going to be playing the winner of Edmonton and LA. That'll be a much bigger task. But this one should be relatively easy. So I like the puck line tonight for Vegas. I think they'll win pretty comfortably. And a guy in another season who would be the MVP, I like Jack Eichel for an anytime goal. He's had a fabulous season.
Yeah, Eichel, interesting in my mind for the Conn Smythe Award as well. I love this Golden Knights team and what they can do rolling those 4 lines. Their defense can activate, and they seem to have the goaltending spot figured out as well. Now, you mentioned who they will face if they are able to get past the Minnesota Wild here. I think this Kings-Oilers series absolutely fascinating. The Oilers have suffered some pretty big losses since last year. I mean, Broberg and Holloway on the Blues. You have multiple players injured in this series. We're seeing Draisaitl come back from injury in Game 1. Do you think the Oilers can get past the Kings for the 4th season in a row?
I've joked if they do that I'd be worried about Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl's backs because they're going to have to carry a team that isn't close to being as good as the team last season. They might win the series, boys. They might, Mike. It could because you can have Connor and Liam go crazy and rise up and do it. But the supporting cast, are you kidding me? And Connor says the team's not hurt. Wait a minute. Matthias Ekholm been playing in this round. He's your best defenseman. They are hurt. They're not the better team. And the thing about the Kings, they're a better team than they were last year. There's just more talent on this team. They're a much bigger team, and they're a badder team. They got guys on the 4th line now that are 6'6" and 200, 6'5" and 200. Because they got, not only did they get whipped last year, they got bullied. This team will not get bullied. And if Edmonton fans are wondering why a lot of people are picking the Kings, there's no mystery why. On paper, pound for pound, they're the better team, and they have the better goaltender in Darcy Kemper, who might be nominated for a Vezina. So I like the Kings in 6 here. They've been incredible at home. They've only lost 5 games in regulation at home. And if you look at the Oilers record, I think they won 11 or 12 games in overtime, 3-on-3. Well, fellas, the last time I checked, ain't no 3-on-3 in overtime in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So I do like the Kings to finally slay the dragon here. And maybe next season we won't have matchup fatigue. Maybe for a 5th time we won't have this. But I think this is the Kings' turn for all the reasons I just mentioned.
It does kind of feel like it just sets up for the Kings and to get that revenge and to finally get past them. And you mentioned it at home. I think it's a huge advantage for the Kings. They're so good at home. All right. I mentioned off air that Somich and I, big time St. Louis Blues fans. Selfish question here for us and for everybody else listening as well. Can the Blues come back after blowing Game 1? Do we have any shot to win the series against Winnipeg?
Yeah, Aaron, they proved they could win a game up there. They could have won that game. Without question, they could have won that game. It's a dangerous, dangerous matchup for the Jets. I really like it. I think it's a 7-game series. I did pick Winnipeg, but they can bounce back from that game. Like if it was 5-0 first game, then okay, the lights are too bright. They had it. They had an opportunity to win it. Couldn't find a way. I thought that Broberg got tricked behind the net before the game winner. But you know what? You're going to have to be able to defend Scheifele and Kyle Connor better to make this a long series. So I still like the Blues. Love the coach. I think the Bruins would want the coach back round, right? Wouldn't they? I think they want.
I think we won that one,
right, Aaron? Right? Exactly.
They're not getting him back.
They're not getting him back. So I just think this is a deep, long series. I love the depth up front by the Blues. Parenko coming back is big, and you can't sell. I will never sell Jordan Bennington short after the 4 Nations. So yeah, I think this is still a long series for you Blues fans, and maybe they find a way to do it.
Yeah, nice to have a clutch goalie. Hopefully the younger guys can kind of catch up with the speed of playoff hockey there. It seemed like they caught up to the Blues in the 3rd period. Now, got about a minute left here. Who do you like to win the Stanley Cup? What's your finals pick this year?
Yeah, I got a rematch of 2022 with the Colorado Avalanche and Tampa Bay Lightning. Love what Tampa Bay's. I really think they can really easily come out of the East. And you look at Colorado with respect to the strength down the middle. And last night, Mackenzie Blackwood in Dallas played a great game. That was the one question mark I had because Mackenzie Blackwood and Scott Wedgwood had never won a Stanley Cup game before. And they're the 2 goalies for Colorado. Love the depth. Love Cale Makar as a 30-goal scorer. I think it's a repeat of 2022. And I do see the Colorado Avalanche winning the Stanley Cup as they did against the Tampa Bay Lightning in 22.
Awesome, Dennis. Really appreciate it. He's Dennis Bernstein. You can find him over on SiriusXM NHL Radio and at thefourthperiod.com or over on X at Dennis TFP. Dennis, thanks for the time, man. Enjoy the playoffs.
Always great being on VSiN, boys. Thanks for the time. Appreciate it.
Now, if anyone out there wants to come to Vegas for the playoffs, let me tell you, there is no better place to watch an NHL playoff game than in the pool over at Circa Swim. So if you're heading over to Vegas, make sure you check out all the properties of Derek Stevens, Circa Las Vegas, the D Hotel, as well as the Golden Gate. Whether you're lounging by that rooftop pool or you're enjoying the excitement up and down downtown Las Vegas, you'll save big with promo code VSIN15. Book your stay at circalasvegas.com. Use VSIN15 to get 15% off any of those 3 phenomenal hotels. And make sure you check out the restaurants as well. Circa's restaurants, very underrated. As someone who now is a home away from home at Circa, I love me 8 East as well as the burger place right above the sports book. Stick with us here on Ready, Set, Bet. When we come back, we're going to preview some more NHL, MLB, and NBA playoffs.